scrimmage on Saturday?
I thought early on, the offense did a really good job. We've challenged our guys to be able to respond early in games. That's hard for a defense because when you think about it, an offense is working all week long, right? They've got a game plan. They've got, whatever they want to call it. Usually people call it their openers or their starters, right? And so they've got, their first 8 to 10 plays of the game that they really feel good about and honed in on. The challenge for a defense, but also an opportunity, is if we can limit them in the first drive of the game, right, it creates a little bit of doubt in their mind, the things that they've been working all week long. But I thought our offense did a really good job in that. I thought our defense responded immediately after. Thought our tackling was just okay. We're running to the ball probably as good as I've seen since we've been here. But I think overall, from a tackling standpoint, those are things that you got to get better at from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2.
Younger defensive backs, and specifically corners in your defense, do you find your defense is something they can pick up pretty quick, or does it take a few years? Like, how do you kind of assess whether it be here or other places you've been?
I think we're really intentional about having a short-term development plan to get young players on the field. We've always done that. In this system, we've always been able to play freshmen because of that. Certainly, we're a complicated defense. We do. You look at the top 3 coverages in the NFL. The last season, it's our number 1, 2, and 3 coverage, right, that we're running here now. So there's some details, right, that are challenging for young players, right, to come in and learn. But we feel like we have created a system that is simple enough for a young man to learn, and then detailed enough really for the nuances as you go, right? There are certain things that maybe an older corner may understand, but it's more about offensive recognition or recognizing a split or a concept that we really spend most of our time on offensive recognition. So the way we install the defense is, we teach them the concept of what we do, never just the role, right? Never just here's what the field corner has or here's what the Mike backer has. Then we talk about situational application. How's it applied to third down, red zone, 2 minute when they need a field goal versus 2 minute when they need a touchdown, right? Totally different scenarios, and the concepts are applied differently. And then what we're getting ready to go into is straight offensive recognition. So by the time we get to the season, it's all about when the offense comes out in a 3-by-1 and the back set out a little bit wider versus tighter, you're either going to get this or this, so that we can play, really with anticipation as opposed to reaction. Defense is inherently reactionary, so we're trying to play with anticipation.
What makes LT Overton such a dangerous pass rushing option?
Well, LT has a great skill set. You can tell he has honed in his pass rush ability. He's got really good complementary answers to his fastball. He's a great speed to power rusher. But he's done it probably a million times over his life, right? And he can feel, whether the offensive lineman is on his top hip or his bottom hip, and know how to counter back inside or outside. So he's a really great on-body rusher, is what I would say, right? So that when he gets in to the man, he knows how to counter back very quickly. And, he's 280 pounds, right? So, and can move his feet. So those things are really challenging for an offensive lineman to deal with.
Do you think he's perfectly built for your bandit position? And when you got here, that's something you saw? It was just like, wow, this guy's.
I think him and Zebo Latham are really the frame, right? That's the ideal. That person has to play a 4-eye. They have to play a 5 technique. They got to play a 9 technique, right? Occasionally, right, they'll fall back inside on the run fit. Some of those things, right? They can do a lot of different things. But I'm impressed with their athleticism. I mean, those guys, they can really move. They do a good job to be that big. So yeah, I would say from a prototype bandit position in the field defensive end, that makes things really challenging to establish runs to the field when you have a 280-pound ass kicker over there.
How did the technology piece of things go during the scrimmage, and with the headset communication? Do you see that as a benefit to the offense and the defense?
That's a great question. I think time will tell. We're different. The NFL, right? They have pictures, so they have a picture. 4 seconds before the snap, 4 seconds after the snap, right? In high school, they've got big home screen entertainment systems, right? That they work on, right? And so then we have the iPads, right? And all those things. I think what it will do is it will confirm, right, from a defensive perspective, hey, did the ball hit in the B gap here? Did it fold outside, our defensive end, or did it go inside here? What route concept did they run? Okay, this was a number 2 receiver on an over route, right? Those are the things that you can just confirm immediately and get corrected. So in that regard, right, you never have those moments where you go, hey, on Saturday night after watching the game, right, that, oh, that's what they were doing. Good coaches, right, you try to minimize that, right? You try to be a human iPad, right, so that you can see things in real time and make adjustments, and we've taken great pride in doing that. So, I wonder if it will be an equalizer to coaches that can't see in real time quite as well. But at the same time, right, it's certainly going to be something that we're going to utilize as best we can.
Earlier on in camp, you mentioned how impressed you were Jalen Mbagwe and his confidence throughout these drills. Did you see that same level of confidence for an incoming freshman on the scrimmages over the weekend?
Yeah, I think what I've been impressed with from Bach is that a guy that has played another position, pretty much all of high school, the growth that he's made to learn the details of the position very quickly. So he made strides in the springtime, but I thought he took his game to another level through the summer, and what he's shown in fall camp to where we feel like, he's going to have a role for us in this season, and had a great day out there today. I mean, he's just really starting to hone in and play with anticipation, as opposed to, hey, I just got to get my footwork right and all that. He's starting to recognize and anticipate. It's good to see.
He's been a leader, Coach, but what have you seen from Tim Keenan in terms of pressure from the pocket, also from the interior?
When I first got here, that was one of the things that Tim and I talked about was, we take pride in this defense, creating production in the defensive line room and on the interior as well. I think Tim has taken to that really well. You can tell that he is maximizing value for himself from a pass rush standpoint. He's mindful of it. We try to give run pass indicators, right, for our players, and then let them call out those run pass indicators. So I may have called a run stopping call, right, that can transition into a pass down rush defense, right? And so they're doing a really good job with some of those communications as well. But Tim's a leader. He does everything right, and he's starting to get rewarded in terms of his production. So exciting to see how that translates to the field.
How's the communication going with Deontay Watson?
Yeah, great question. So we're doing it with a number of guys, but that's really he's my voice on the field, right? So it's not just getting the call in, but there are certain things that I may want to communicate to him about the situation, right? The understanding of the offense, what they're getting ready to do. Honestly, I mean, you could write a book on the headset communication and how different that is from where we were with signaling to where we are now. I think you're going to see all things over the spectrum, right? You're going to see some people that still do all the signaling. You're going to see some people that are going to try to go exclusively to the headset communication. I think there's a fine line there because it cuts off at 15 seconds, and so what happens afterwards when an offense is going to make a check, you're going to see some offenses that are going to go really fast. And I think that's going to be helpful for us on defense because I can immediately get a call to the core and they can communicate to about 7 or 8 guys immediately. When teams are going fast, you're going to see some teams that wait until under 15 seconds and then they go. So now the defense is back to the normal signaling. So it'll be a cat and mouse game. And I'm really, I'm excited to see, how to navigate that. I want to stay ahead of the curve.
What kind of growth have you seen from the cornerback group as a whole through 11 days?
I'm sorry.
What kind of growth have you seen from the cornerback group as a whole?
I think, I think Mo Lindquist does a tremendous job from a technical standpoint. He's one of the best teachers that I have seen. I think those guys are very fundamentally sound. Even those young freshmen, they don't look like freshmen out there in terms of what they're doing from a fundamental perspective and their footwork, their hand placement. Very detailed, very organized, and very intentional about their individual time, and I think it's showing up in practice right now. What I'm excited probably to see is some of those younger players are playing with anticipation. Defense is inherently reactionary, right? So the offense comes out in a personnel formation, whatever, and we react to whatever those things are. But if you can say under this personnel and that formation on 3rd and 6, right now it's either going to be this or it's going to be that. Now we can play with anticipation. I think the corners are leaning into that right now.
How's Jihad doing? What have you seen from some of those, both Justins really, Jefferson and Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think, Jihad is such a versatile skill set. I think he came here as an outside linebacker originally. and then, you know, made that transition to inside linebacker. That is not an easy transition. I think people just hear the word linebacker and think it's about the same. They're different worlds, playing the outside linebacker and inside linebacker position. I think he's really done a great job of understanding the details that it takes in the run fits in the interior, the communication piece to get everybody else lined up as well. I think, you know, Jihad's another guy that could be a green dot type guy for us. And so, you know, what I've been impressed with some of those younger backers is they're, you know, they see a standard of Jihad Campbell and Deontay Lawson, and I think Justin Jefferson is really playing at that same level. And so those guys are really pushing every single day. But it's a hard road as a freshman linebacker for us right now. We put a lot on those guys and demand a lot of them. So, you know, it's back and forth every day.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.